I'm sitting here in my new apartment in Seattle, and my hands are still shaking. Not from fear anymore, from rage. Pure, burning rage at what he did to me, at what I let him do because I trusted him. My name is Maya Rodriguez. I'm 32 years old, and 6 months ago I discovered my husband had been drugging me every single night, selling access to my unconscious body to strangers for $500 an hour. But before I tell you how I caught him, before I show you the evidence that put him in prison for 20 years, I need you to do something. Hit that like button right now. Subscribe to this channel. Because if this happened to me, a teacher, an educated woman who thought she was careful, it can happen to anyone. Drop a comment telling me where you're watching from. I read every single one, and knowing I'm not alone helps me survive what I'm about to tell you. Trust me, you want to hear how this ends. It started 7 months ago. Ryan came home with a brown glass bottle. "Baby, I got you something." He sat beside me on the couch, so excited. "Special vitamins, all organic. They'll help with your stress and sleep." I took the bottle, plain white label, Holistic Health Solutions. "You work too hard," he said, kissing my forehead. "Let me take care of you." That night at 10 p.m., he brought them to me with water and chamomile tea. "Open up." He smiled. I swallowed them. All 4 pills. Didn't question it once. Why would I? He was my husband. We'd been married 3 years. He loved me. Or so I thought. Within 20 minutes, I was drowning. That's what it felt like. Being pulled underwater by something I couldn't fight. My eyelids got so heavy. My thoughts scattered like papers in wind. Sweet dreams, my love. Ryan kissed me. I was unconscious before my head hit the pillow. The memory gap started 2 weeks later. I was making coffee Tuesday morning when Ryan walked in. "So about repainting the guest room. You wanted sage green, right?" I froze. "What guest room?" "Maya." He laughed. "We talked about this Sunday night. You showed me paint samples on your phone." "Ryan, I don't remember that conversation." His smile faded just slightly. "Baby, you're forgetting things. That's concerning." "No, we had a whole discussion. You were really excited about it." He pulled me close. "You've been so stressed with work. Maybe you need more sleep?" I stood there in his arms, my coffee getting cold, trying to remember Sunday night. Nothing. Complete blank space where that conversation should have been. It happened again Thursday. "Your sister called. You told her we'd visit next month, remember?" I didn't remember. "Friday. You said you wanted to try that new restaurant downtown." No memory of it. "Saturday. Baby, you agreed we should get a new couch." My hands started shaking. "Ryan, I don't remember any of these conversations." "That's exactly why you need these vitamins." He held up the brown bottle. "They're supposed to help with memory and cognitive function. Give them time to work." But they weren't working. I was getting worse. My best friend, Sophie, noticed it first. We met for lunch on a Saturday. I've been taking the vitamins for 3 weeks by then. Sophie and I have been friends since college. She knows me better than anyone. We were halfway through our salads when she put down her fork. "Maya, look at me." I looked up. Her face was serious, almost scared. "Are you okay? Like, really okay?" "I'm fine. Just tired from..." "No." She reached across the table, grabbed my hand. "You're not fine. Your eyes are glazed over. You're moving in slow motion, and you just put salt in your iced tea instead of sugar." I looked down. She was right. My tea was ruined. "Maya, are you on something?" My stomach dropped. "What?" "No, I'm not. You look sedated. You look like someone who's been drugged." "Sophie, I'm just taking vitamins. An anxiety medication from my doctor." She squeezed my hand harder. "What vitamins? Where did you get them?" "Ryan got them for me, from a health store." Something changed in her face. "Have you researched them yourself? Looked up the company?" "No." "But Ryan said..." "Maya." Her voice dropped low. "Promise me you'll look them up. Tonight. Don't just trust what Ryan tells you. Actually research them." Why wouldn't I trust my husband? She didn't answer. Just held my gaze with this look that said everything she couldn't say out loud. I drove home with her words echoing in my head. "You look like someone who's been drugged." That night, I woke up at 3 a.m. in different pajamas. I'd gone to bed in my old college t-shirt and shorts. I was now wearing a silk nightgown I barely remembered owning. My heart started racing. I sat up, looked around the dark bedroom. Ryan was sleeping beside me, breathing deep and steady. I got up, went to the bathroom, locked the door, stared at myself in the mirror. I had no memory of changing clothes. None. How do you change your entire outfit and not remember it? I looked down at my arms. That's when I saw them. Bruises. Small purple marks on my upper arm. 4 on one side, 1 on the other. Like fingerprints. Like someone had gripped my arm tightly while I was unconscious. My blood turned to ice. I stumbled back to bed, crawled under the covers, didn't sleep the rest of the night. Just lay there, staring at the ceiling, feeling those bruises throb, trying to understand how they got there. Morning came. Ryan brought me coffee in bed. Morning, beautiful. How'd you sleep? I pulled down my sleeve to hide the bruises. Fine. He kissed my forehead. His lips felt cold. At school, Monday, I couldn't focus. I teach second grade art. 25 7-year-olds who needed me present, engaged, alive. But I kept zoning out, losing track of what I was saying, mid-sentence, staring at the watercolor paintings drying on the rack and forgetting how they got there. Mrs. Rodriguez? Little Emma tugged my sleeve during free painting time. Are you sick? No, sweetie, I'm fine. My mom gets tired like that when she's sick. Emma's eyes were so concerned. You should rest. A 7-year-old could see something was wrong with me. During my lunch break, I locked myself in my classroom, pulled out my phone, searched for Holistic Health Solutions Portland. Nothing came up. I searched again. Different terms, different combinations. No website, no business listing, no reviews, no phone number, no address that actually existed. The company didn't exist, which meant Ryan had lied about where those vitamins came from. My hands were shaking so badly I almost dropped my phone. I searched date rape drug symptoms. The results made me want to vomit. Memory loss, extreme drowsiness, waking in different clothes, bruising, confusion, gaps in time, every single symptom I'd been having. I called Sophie from my classroom. I looked up the company, I said when she answered. It doesn't exist. Silence on the other end. Then, Maya, where are you right now? School. Are you going home tonight? I have to. I live there. Listen to me very carefully. Her voice was shaking. Don't take those pills tonight. I don't care what Ryan says. Hide them. Spit them out. Whatever you have to do. Don't take them. Sophie, you're scaring me. Good. You should be scared. That night, Ryan brought me the pills at exactly 10 p.m., like always. He sat on the edge of our bed, held them out in his palm. Here you go, baby. Don't forget your anxiety medication, too. I looked at those pills, 4 white tablets that I'd been swallowing without question for a month. Pills from a company that didn't exist. Pills that made me black out for 8 hours straight. Actually, I'm not feeling well. Can I skip tonight? Ryan's face changed. Just for a second. The warm smile disappeared. His eyes went cold, hard. Then the smile snapped back into place. Baby, you can't skip. They only work if you take them consistently. He moved closer. Come on. For me? I just think one night off won't... Maya. His voice had an edge now. Sharp. Angry. Take the pills. My stomach dropped. In 3 years of marriage, he'd never used that tone with me. Okay. I reached for them with shaking hands. He watched me put them in my mouth. Watched me take a sip of water. Watched me swallow. Open your mouth. What? Open your mouth. Let me see. I opened my mouth. Showed him the pills were gone. Good girl. He kissed my forehead. The pills were hidden against my cheek. Sweet dreams, my love. The moment he left the room, I ran to the bathroom and spit them into my hand. They were partially dissolved, bitter and chalky. I flushed them down the toilet. Then I went back to bed and waited to see what would happen when Ryan thought I was unconscious. He checked on me 30 minutes later. I heard the bedroom door open, heard his footsteps on the carpet. I kept my eyes closed, my breathing deep and slow, pretending to be in that drug-induced sleep I'd been in for weeks. He stood over me for a long time. I felt him lean down, felt his breath on my face. Then he lifted my arm and let it drop, testing my response. I stayed completely limp. It took everything in me not to flinch. He straightened up, left the room, closed the door. I lay there in the dark, my heart pounding so hard I thought he'd hear it through the walls. What was he testing for? Why did he need to make sure I was really unconscious? I checked the clock on my nightstand. 10:47 p.m. I waited. At 2:13 a.m., I heard Ryan get out of bed. I kept my eyes closed, heard him leave the bedroom, heard his footsteps in the hallway. But he wasn't going to the bathroom or the kitchen. He was going downstairs. I heard the basement door open. We never used our basement. It was just storage, boxes, and holiday decorations. Nothing important down there. So why was Ryan going to the basement at 2 a.m.? I waited 5 minutes. The longest 5 minutes of my life. Then I slipped out of bed as quietly as possible. My head was spinning, probably residual effects from whatever drugs were still in my system from weeks of use. I crept to the bedroom door, opened it inch by inch. The hallway was dark. I moved toward the stairs. That's when I heard it. Voices. Not just Ryan's voice. Multiple voices. Men's voices. Coming from the basement. My blood turned to ice. There was someone in my house. Ryan had let someone into my house in the middle of the night while he thought I was drugged unconscious upstairs. I pressed my ear against the basement door, barely breathing, straining to hear. Same arrangement as last time? An unfamiliar voice. Deep and rough. Yeah, $500 for the hour. Cash only. That was Ryan's voice. Casual. Businesslike. And you're sure she won't wake up? Trust me, Marcus. She's completely out. I've been doing this for months. She never remembers a thing. My hand flew to my mouth to stop the sound that wanted to escape. Months. He said months. What's the dosage? The stranger again. Enough to keep her unconscious for 7-8 hours minimum. Even if she somehow did wake up, she'd be so confused and disoriented she wouldn't know what was real. They both laughed. I stumbled backward. My legs were shaking so badly I could barely stand. $500 an hour. A man named Marcus. She never remembers a thing. Ryan was selling access to me, to my unconscious body. All those memory gaps. All those nights I woke up in different pajamas. All those bruises I couldn't explain. Oh God, what had he done? What had he let them do? I somehow made it back to the bedroom, back into bed, pulled the covers up to my chin and lay there shaking, tears streaming down my face, while my husband finished his transaction downstairs. An hour later, he came back to bed, checked on me one more time, kissed my forehead. My sweet girl, he whispered. I wanted to scream. I wanted to claw his eyes out. I wanted to run. But I couldn't. Not yet. Because if I ran now, without proof, without evidence, who would believe me? Morning came. Ryan woke me with coffee and that smile I used to love. Morning, beautiful. How'd you sleep? I looked at him. Really looked at him. At this man I'd married. This man I'd trusted with everything. And I saw a stranger. A monster wearing my husband's face. Great, I lied. Slept great. He kissed me. I didn't pull away. I couldn't let him know that I knew. I'm making pancakes, your favorite. He left the room. I ran to the bathroom and threw up until there was nothing left. At school, I called Sophie from my car during lunch. He's doing it, I said the moment she answered. He's drugging me and bringing men into our house. Maya, I heard him last night, talking to someone named Marcus. $500 an hour, Sophie. He's charging them to... My voice broke. I can't even say it. Where are you right now? School parking lot. Stay there. I'm coming to you. I can't leave yet. I have students this afternoon. Then tonight, you're not going back to that house. You hear me? You're not going back there. I need proof first. My hands were shaking so badly I could barely hold the phone. If I go to the police right now with just this story, will they believe me? Will they believe that my husband is drugging me without proof? Silence. I need evidence, I said. I need to catch him. I need proof that no one can dismiss or explain away. How? I don't know yet, but I'll figure it out. That afternoon, instead of going home after school, I drove to an electronics store across town. I walked through the aisles, my heart pounding, until I found what I needed. Hidden cameras. Tiny ones. the kind you can disguise as everyday objects, the kind that record the cloud storage that no one else can access. The salesman approached me. Can I help you find something? These cameras. I picked up 2 of them. Do they record continuously? Can I access the footage remotely? Yes, ma'am. They connect to an app on your phone. Record 24/7 to encrypted cloud storage. Battery lasts about a week. I'll take 2. I paid cash. No credit card Ryan could trace. Carried them to my car in a plain bag. Sat in the parking lot for 20 minutes, just staring at that bag, my hands gripping the steering wheel so tight my knuckles turned white. This was it. The line I was crossing. Once I planted these cameras, once I collected this evidence, there was no going back. My marriage would be over. My life as I knew it would be over. But what choice did I have? I couldn't keep living like this. Couldn't keep letting him drug me. Couldn't keep wondering what was happening to my body while I was unconscious. I drove home, hid the cameras in my trunk, went inside and pretended everything was normal. 3 days later, Ryan told me he was driving to Eugene for a client meeting, 3 hours each way. He'd be gone most of the day. The moment his car pulled out of the driveway, I grabbed the cameras from my trunk. My hands were shaking as I planted the first one in our bedroom. It was disguised as a small digital clock. I positioned it on the bookshelf across from our bed, angled perfectly to capture the nightstand where Ryan always placed my pills. I tested it with my phone. Clear view, recording perfectly. The second camera I took to the basement. I stood at the top of those stairs for a full minute, my heart pounding, before I could make myself descend. The basement looked normal in daylight. Concrete floor, exposed beams, storage boxes lined against the walls. But now it felt sinister, contaminated. This was where Ryan brought them. This was where he conducted his business while I lay unconscious upstairs. I found an air vent on the far wall, used a screwdriver from Ryan's toolbox to remove the cover. The camera fit perfectly inside, angled to capture most of the space. I replaced the vent cover, made sure everything looked undisturbed. Both cameras were now connected to a cloud account Ryan didn't know about. They'd record everything, upload automatically. Even if he found them and destroyed them, the footage would still exist. I made it back upstairs just as I heard Ryan's car in the driveway. Hey, baby. He walked in smiling. I'm home early. The client had to reschedule. My stomach dropped. He was home 3 hours early. What if he'd come back while I was in the basement? Oh, that's too bad. He kissed me. It's fine. Means more time with you. That night, he brought me the pills at 10 p.m. I looked at them in his palm. 4 white tablets, poison disguised as medicine. Here you go, baby. I took them, put them in my mouth, pretended to swallow. Open up. I opened my mouth. The pills were tucked against my cheek. Good girl. Sweet dreams, my love. The moment he left, I spit them into my hand, flushed them, went back to bed. And this time, I had cameras recording everything. He came that night. At 2:47 a.m., I heard the basement door open. I stayed in bed, eyes closed, heart racing. 45 minutes later, he came back upstairs, checked on me, kissed my forehead. The cameras had captured everything. I waited 3 more nights. 3 nights of pretending to take the pills. 3 nights of fighting to stay conscious. 3 nights of listening to him sneak around our house while he thought I was unconscious. On the 4th night, Ryan told me he was going out for drinks with a friend from college. He'd be gone for hours. The moment the door closed behind him, I grabbed my laptop and pulled up the camera feeds. My hands were shaking so badly I could barely type in the password. The bedroom footage loaded first. I watched Ryan bring me the pills every night, watched him stand there until I swallowed them, watched him check on me multiple times, lifting my arm and letting it drop, shining a light in my eyes to test my pupil response, even pinching my skin to see if I'd react. But it was the metadata that made me want to scream. The timestamp showed this had been happening for 7 months, not 4 weeks like I thought. 7 months. Since before I even noticed the first symptoms, he'd been planning this, building up to this, maybe from the very beginning. Then I clicked on the basement footage, and what I saw destroyed me. The video showed Ryan leading men down to the basement, Different men, different nights, all of them carrying cash. I watched money change hands, hundreds of dollars, sometimes more. I watched Ryan show them something on his laptop. Their faces would light up. They'd nod eagerly, hand over more money. I watched him set up a camera on a tripod, angled up toward the ceiling, toward where our bedroom was directly above. Oh God, he wasn't just bringing them into our house. He was creating content, photos, videos of me, while I was drugged, unconscious, upstairs, and he was selling it. I clicked through more footage. Different dates, different men, the same sick routine. One video showed a man asking, "Can I? No touching." Ryan cut him off. "Photos and videos only." "That's the deal. She can never know this happened." "How much for?" "Not happening, Marcus. That's not what I offer. You want photos and videos? That's $500. You want something else? Find someone else." So he'd never let them touch me, just photograph me, just create content while I was unconscious and unable to consent. Like that was somehow better. Like that made it okay. I clicked through more files, found folders on the cloud storage, hundreds of files with dates going back 7 months. I couldn't open them. Couldn't make myself look at what he'd done, how he'd posed my unconscious body, what these men had paid to see. The fact that they existed was enough. I slammed my laptop shut, ran to the bathroom, threw up until there was nothing left. Then I collapsed on the bathroom floor and sobbed. When I could finally breathe again, I called Sophie. "I found it," I said when she answered. "I have proof, video evidence of everything. Maya, he's been doing this for 7 months, Sophie. 7 months, bringing men into our house, creating content of my unconscious body, selling it for cash. I have it all on camera." "Where are you right now?" "Home. Ryan's out. He won't be back for another hour." "Pack a bag, right now. Grab your important documents, your evidence, anything you can't leave behind, and get out of that house. I need to back up the footage first. I need to make sure." "Maya, listen to me very carefully." Sophie's voice was shaking. "Back up the footage to every cloud service you can think of. Email it to yourself at multiple addresses. Save it to USB drives. But then you leave. You do not wait for him to come home. You do not confront him. You get out of that house and you never go back. Do you understand me?" My hands were shaking. "Where will I go?" "To me. You're coming to me. I'm texting you my address right now. Pack your bag and drive straight here. I'll call the police. We're doing this tonight." "Sophie, I'm scared." "I know, honey, I know. But you're strong. You found the evidence. You figured out what he was doing. Now you just need to get yourself somewhere safe." I packed a bag with shaking hands. Clothes, toiletries, my important documents, birth certificate, social security card, passport, my laptop with the camera footage. I backed up everything to 3 different cloud services, emailed the videos to myself at 5 different email addresses, saved copies to 2 USB drives that I put in my pocket. I was not going to lose this evidence. I was not going to let him get away with this. Then I walked through our house one last time, this place where I thought I was building a life, this place where I'd been violated for 7 months without even knowing it. I grabbed my car keys, my purse, my bag, and I walked out the front door. Didn't leave a note, didn't say goodbye, just got in my car and drove away. I've been so careful about everything else, about getting evidence, about not letting Ryan know I suspected, about protecting myself. But I made one mistake. I didn't check to see if Ryan had been tracking my phone. Halfway to Sophie's house, my phone rang. Ryan, my hands started shaking. I almost didn't answer, but some instinct told me I needed to know what he'd say, needed to hear his voice. I answered. Maya. His voice was cold, dead. Nothing like the warm husband I'd known. "Where are you going, baby? And why are you taking your important documents with you?" My blood turned to ice. He knew. He'd been watching me, watching my every move. "I know what you did," I said. My voice was surprisingly steady. "I know everything, Ryan. I have proof." Silence on the other end. Long enough that I thought he'd hung up. Then he laughed. Actually laughed. "You have no idea what you've done," he said. "Those cameras you planted, I found them 2 days ago. I've been feeding you exactly what I wanted you to see." The phone slipped from my hand. No, that wasn't possible. I've been so careful. But even as my mind raced, trying to understand, trying to process, one thought cut through the panic. If Ryan had found the cameras 2 days ago, then what was the real truth? What had he been doing to me all those other nights? And what was on those hard drives in the locked drawer that I'd never been able to access? I jerked the steering wheel. My car swerved into the next lane. Horns blared around me. You're lying. My voice came out in a whisper. You're lying to scare me. Am I? Ryan's laugh was cold, empty. Think about it, Maya. You really thought you were smarter than me? You thought I wouldn't notice you spitting out the pills? Wouldn't see you sneaking around the house? I've been watching you this whole time, baby. Every single move you made. My hands were shaking so badly, I could barely hold the phone. The footage was exactly what I wanted you to see. Just enough to make you think you figured it out. Just enough to make you run. He paused. Where are you running to, by the way? Sophie's house? Ice flooded my veins. How do you? I told you. I've been tracking you. Your phone, your car, everything. His voice dropped lower. You want to know what's really on those hard drives in my drawer, Maya? The ones you never got to open? I couldn't breathe. Couldn't think. The road blurred in front of me. Pull over, he said. Right now. We need to talk about this like adults. No. Maya. No. I screamed it. I'm done. I'm done listening to you. I'm done trusting you. I'm going to the police, Ryan. I have evidence. Evidence I fed you. He laughed again. Good luck explaining that to the cops. My husband drugged me, but the only proof I have is security footage that he deliberately showed me to make me panic. You think they'll believe you? You think anyone will believe the word of a mentally unstable woman with anxiety issues over a respectable graphic designer with a clean record? My stomach lurched. He'd planned this. All of it. Even my escape. This was a test, I said slowly. Understanding hitting me like a physical blow. You wanted me to find the cameras. You wanted me to see just enough to see how far you go. How much you'd fight. How much you really loved me. His voice changed. Became softer. Almost sad. I had to know, Maya. Had to know if you'd run at the first sign of trouble or if you tried to understand. Understand. I couldn't believe what I was hearing. You drugged me. You brought strangers into our house. You sold. I never let anyone touch you. His voice was sharp now. Defensive. Never. That was always my rule. Photos only. Videos only. Nothing else. I protected you. You're insane. I'm practical. We needed money, Maya. Your teacher salary barely covers groceries. My freelance work is inconsistent. We had bills piling up. Credit card debt you didn't even know about because I hid it from you. What was I supposed to do? Get a real job. I was screaming now, not caring who heard. Talk to me about our finances, not drug your wife and sell photos of her unconscious body. It was harmless. It was rape. The word hung in the air between us. Heavy. True. It was rape, Ryan. Whether you let them touch me or not. You violated me. You stole my consent. You took away my ability to choose what happened to my own body. Silence on the other end. Long enough that I thought he'd hung up. Then, where are you right now, Maya? Exactly? My blood ran cold. Stay away from me. I just want to talk. Face to face, like married people should. I hung up. Threw my phone onto the passenger seat like it was burning my hand. He was tracking me. He knew where I was going. He could follow me to Sophie's. Could hurt her too. I couldn't go to Sophie's. Couldn't put her in danger. But where else could I go? My phone rang again. Ryan's name flashing on the screen. I didn't answer. Let it ring and ring until it went to voicemail. 30 seconds later, a text message appeared. I know you're scared. I know you think I'm a monster. But I love you, Maya. Everything I did was for us, for our future. Come home. We'll talk. We'll fix this. I promise. My hands were shaking so hard I almost dropped the phone. I wanted to throw it out the window. Wanted to smash it against the dashboard. But I needed it. Needed it to call for help. I pulled into a gas station parking lot. Turned off the car. Sat there with my engine ticking, my heart racing, trying to think. If Ryan had found the cameras 2 days ago, then the footage I'd seen wasn't real. Or it was real, but edited, staged, controlled. Which meant I didn't actually know what he'd been doing to me all these months. I didn't know how many men, How many times? How far it had really gone. My phone rang again. Not Ryan this time. Sophie. I answered with shaking hands. Sophie. Maya, where are you? I've been trying to call. Are you okay? Ryan knows. He found the cameras. He's been tracking my phone. He knows I'm coming to you and... Slow down, breathe. Where are you right now? Gas station. Off Highway 26. I don't know what to do. I can't come to your house. He'll follow me. He'll listen to me very carefully. Sophie's voice was calm, steady, the eye of my hurricane. Turn off your phone, right now. Take out the SIM card if you can. Don't turn it back on. He can't track you if the phone's off. But how will I? There's a police station 3 miles from where you are. I'm looking at the map right now. You drive straight there. You walk in. You tell them everything. You show them the footage you backed up. You do not go home. You do not talk to Ryan. You go straight to the police. Do you understand me? What if they don't believe me? They'll believe you. You have evidence. You have proof. Even if Ryan claims it's staged, the police will investigate. They'll search your house. They'll find those hard drives. They'll find the truth. I wanted to believe her. Wanted to think it would be that simple. Maya. Sophie's voice softened. You are not going back to that house. You are not staying married to that man. Whatever happens next, you survive this. You hear me? You survive. Tears were streaming down my face. I'm scared. I know, honey. I know. But you're also strong. You figured out what he was doing. You got evidence. You got yourself out. Now you just need to finish what you started. I looked at my phone, at Ryan's text filling the screen. Come home, baby, please. We can work through this. I love you so much. Don't throw away 3 years of marriage. If you go to the police, you'll regret it. I promise you'll regret it. That last text sent chills down my spine. I'm turning off my phone now, I said to Sophie. I'm going to the police. Good. Call me from their phone when you get there. I'll come to you. Sophie, thank you. Thank you for believing me. Always, Maya. Always. I hung up, powered off my phone, took a deep breath. Then I started my car and drove to the police station, checking my rearview mirror every 5 seconds to see if Ryan was following me. The parking lot was mostly empty when I pulled in. Just a few patrol cars and what looked like civilian vehicles. I sat in my car for a long moment, my hands gripping the steering wheel, trying to make myself open the door. This was it. Once I walked through those doors, once I told the police what Ryan had done, there was no going back. My marriage was over. My life was over. Everything I built for 3 years would be destroyed, but it was already destroyed. Ryan had destroyed it 7 months ago when he'd first started drugging me. I grabbed my bag, my laptop, my USB drives, and I walked into that police station with my head held high, even though my legs were shaking. The front desk officer was a woman in her 50s, with kind eyes and gray hair pulled back in a bun. Can I help you? I need to report a crime. My voice came out steadier than I felt. My husband has been drugging me for 7 months. He's been creating content of my unconscious body and selling it to strangers. I have video evidence. Her expression changed immediately, went from routine boredom to sharp attention. Ma'am, please have a seat. I'm going to get a detective right away. She disappeared into a back room. I sat in one of those hard plastic chairs, my bag clutched in my lap, and waited. 5 minutes later, a woman in plain clothes emerged. Early 40s, dark hair, sharp eyes that missed nothing. Mrs. Rodriguez? I'm Detective Lisa Chin. Why don't you come back to an interview room where we can talk privately? I followed her down a hallway lined with bulletin boards and official notices. She led me into a small room with a table, 2 chairs, and a camera mounted in the corner. Can I get you some water? Coffee? Water, please. She left and returned with a bottle of water. Sat across from me. Pulled out a notepad. Okay, Maya. Can I call you Maya? I nodded. Tell me what's been happening. Start from the beginning. Take your time. So I did. I told her everything. From the vitamins Ryan had given me 7 months ago, to the memory gaps, to the bruises, to Sophie's warning, to the fake company name, to finding the cameras, to hearing Ryan's conversation with Marcus, to backing up the evidence to Ryan's phone call tonight saying he'd found the cameras 2 days ago. Detective Chen took notes through all of it. Didn't interrupt. Didn't question. Just listened, with an expression that got darker and darker as my story unfolded. When I finished, she was quiet for a long moment. Maya, what your husband has done is very serious. Multiple very serious crimes. We're talking about administering drugs without consent, which is assault, creating intimate images without consent, potentially trafficking, depending on what we find on those hard drives. She leaned forward. I believe you. I want you to know that. Everything you've told me fits patterns we see in these cases, and the fact that you have evidence makes this much stronger. Relief flooded through me so intense I almost started crying. So you'll investigate? We're going to do more than investigate. I'm going to get an emergency protective order filed tonight. Your husband will not be allowed to contact you or come anywhere near you. Then first thing tomorrow morning, we're going to execute a search warrant on your home. We'll seize those hard drives, his computer, his phone, anything that might contain evidence. What if he destroys it? He knows I went to the police. What if he's destroying everything right now? We'll send officers to your house tonight. Right now. They'll secure the scene. Make sure nothing gets destroyed or removed. Your husband won't know we're coming until we're already there. I couldn't believe what I was hearing. After months of gaslighting, after Ryan telling me I was crazy and imagining things and too stressed to think straight, someone was finally believing me. Someone was finally taking action. I need to see the footage you have, Detective Chen said. The camera recordings. Can you show me? I pulled out my laptop with shaking hands, opened the cloud storage, clicked on the bedroom camera footage from 3 nights ago. Detective Chen watched in silence as Ryan brought me the pills, watched me take them, checked on me multiple times throughout the night. This is good, she said. This establishes a pattern. What about the basement footage? I clicked on those files. She watched Ryan leading men downstairs, watched money changing hands, watched him set up camera equipment. Do you recognize any of these men? Just one. He called him Marcus. I heard that name when I was listening at the basement door. She made notes. We'll identify them. Once we have the hard drives, we'll have customer lists, payment records, everything we need to build a case. Detective Chen, Ryan said on the phone that he found the cameras 2 days ago. He said the footage I saw was staged, that he fed me exactly what he wanted me to see. What if, even if that's true, it doesn't matter. She looked me straight in the eye. He still drugged you. He still created this situation. He still violated you. And once we search your house and find those hard drives, we'll have the real evidence. Not just what he wanted you to see. Everything. I wanted to believe her. Wanted to trust that this would be over soon. But Ryan's last text kept echoing in my mind. If you go to the police, you'll regret it. What did he mean by that? What was on those hard drives that he didn't want the police to see? I need you to give a formal statement, Detective Chen said. Everything you told me, but recorded and official. It might take a couple hours. Are you up for that? Yes. I want to do this right. I want to make sure he can't. My voice broke. I want to make sure he goes to prison for what he did. We're going to do everything we can to make that happen. She stood. Let me get the recording equipment set up. In the meantime, is there someone you can call? Someone who can be here with you? This is going to be a long night. Sophie, my best friend. She's been helping me through all of this. Call her. Use our phone. Your cell needs to stay off so your husband can't track you. She left the room. I sat there alone, staring at the blank walls, trying to process everything that was happening. An hour ago, I'd been driving to Sophie's house, terrified and alone. Now I was in a police station, giving a statement, watching Detective Chen mobilize an entire investigation team based on my story. This was real. This was happening. Ryan was going to face consequences for what he'd done, but I couldn't shake the feeling that something was wrong, that Ryan had planned for this too, that he was 3 steps ahead of me just like he'd been for 7 months. Detective Chen returned with recording equipment. Ready? I nodded. For the next 3 hours, I gave the most detailed statement of my life. She asked questions I'd never thought of. Made me walk through timelines. Asked about specific dates, specific symptoms, specific conversations. By the time we finished, it was past midnight. I was exhausted, emotionally drained, but also strangely relieved, like I'd been carrying this massive weight and finally set it down. Sophie arrived just as we were wrapping up. She took one look at me and pulled me into a hug so tight I could barely breathe. I'm so proud of you, she whispered. So So proud. Detective Chen gave us an update. Officers had already been dispatched to my house. They'd secured the scene, prevented Ryan from destroying evidence. He'd been cooperative so far, but they were keeping close watch. The search warrant will be executed first thing tomorrow morning, she said. In the meantime, you need somewhere safe to stay. Somewhere your husband doesn't know about. She's staying with me, Sophie said immediately. He knows where I live, but he won't try anything, not with a protective order in place. We'll have officers patrol your neighborhood tonight, Detective Chen assured us, just to be safe. And Maya, she handed me her card. Call me anytime, day or night. If you remember anything else, if you feel unsafe, if anything happens, I'm here. I took the card with shaking hands. Thank you. Thank you for believing me. Thank you for being brave enough to come forward. Sophie drove me to her apartment. I left my car at the police station. Detective Chen said they'd need to process it for evidence anyway, since Ryan might have planted tracking devices. I never felt so grateful for Sophie in my life. She didn't ask questions, didn't push me to talk. Just got me settled in her guest room, brought me tea and told me to rest. But I couldn't rest. Every time I closed my eyes, I saw Ryan's face, heard his voice on the phone. If you go to the police, you'll regret it. Around 2 a.m., my burner phone rang, the one Detective Chen had given me to use until this was all over. Maya, it's Detective Chen. I'm sorry to call so late, but we've got a situation. My stomach dropped. What kind of situation? We executed the search warrant an hour ago. We found the hard drives. We found everything. She paused. Maya, it's worse than we thought. Much worse. We need you to come back to the station. There's something you need to see. My hands started shaking. What did you find? I can't discuss it over the phone, but Maya, her voice was tight, angry. Your husband is under arrest. We took him into custody 20 minutes ago. He's not going anywhere. You're safe. I should have felt relieved, should have felt vindicated, but all I felt was terror. Because if Detective Chen said it was worse than she thought, if she needed me to come see something in person, then what Ryan had been hiding on those hard drives was something I couldn't even imagine. I'll be there in 15 minutes, I said. Sophie drove me back to the station. Neither of us spoke. The streets were empty at this hour, just streetlights and the occasional passing car. Detective Chen met us in the parking lot. Her face was grim. Before I show you this, I need to prepare you. What we found on those hard drives? She stopped, started again. Maya, your husband wasn't just creating content and selling it. He was doing something else. Something much worse. Just show me, I said. My voice sounded dead even to my own ears. Whatever it is, I need to see it. She led us to a conference room. A laptop sat on the table, screen dark. We found customer lists going back not 7 months, but 18 months, long before you even noticed the memory gaps. He's been planning this since before you got married. My legs gave out. Sophie caught me, helped me into a chair. And the content, Detective Chen's jaw tightened. He wasn't just taking photos. He was live streaming to private clients, charging premium prices. Some nights he had 15, 20 people watching. The room started spinning. Live streaming. People watching in real time while I was unconscious upstairs. While Ryan posed me, moved me, violated me. But there's more. Detective Chen turned the laptop toward me. We found these files. They're dated from 6 weeks ago. She clicked play on a video. The footage showed our basement. Ryan setting up camera equipment. But this time, he wasn't alone. There was a woman with him. Young, maybe 25. Dark hair, pretty. And she was helping him adjust the camera angle, laughing at something he said. Who is that? I whispered. We don't know yet. But based on the conversations on the video, she's not a customer. She's his partner, his accomplice. The video continued. Ryan and the woman discussing dosages, discussing schedules, discussing which nights were most profitable. See, Tuesday and Thursday work best, Ryan was saying. She has early morning classes on Wednesdays and Fridays, so she sleeps heavier those nights. We can push the dosage up, run longer streams. The woman nodded. And she still doesn't suspect? Not a thing. She trusts me completely. Ryan laughed. It's almost too easy. They kissed. A long, intimate kiss that made me want to throw up. Ryan had a partner, a girlfriend, someone who knew about the drugging, knew about the violation, and helped him do it. We're trying to identify her now, Detective Chen said. But Maya, there's one more thing. I couldn't imagine what could possibly be worse than what I'd already seen. She pulled up another file. This one was text-based, a spreadsheet. This is a ledger of payments. We've been going through it all night. She pointed at the screen. Do you recognize any of these names? I scanned the list. Most were unfamiliar. Usernames, probably. Anonymous clients who'd paid to watch me drugged unconscious. Then I saw one that made my blood freeze. Marcus P78. That's him, I said. Marcus, the one I heard him talking to in the basement. We identified him an hour ago. Marcus Patterson. He's a high school principal in Beaverton. A high school principal, someone who worked with children every day, had been paying to watch content of an unconscious woman. But look at this. Detective Chen pointed to another entry. This payment is different, much larger, and it's not for viewing. It's for something else. The entry read, Private Session, Full Access, $5,000, June 15th. June 15th was 2 weeks ago. What does full access mean? I asked, even though I didn't want to know the answer. Detective Chen's expression was grim. We found video from that night. Maya, I don't think you should watch it. It's show me. My voice was steel. I need to see what he did. She hesitated, then clicked play. The video showed our bedroom. Me, unconscious on the bed, and Ryan, leading someone into the room, not just showing them, leading them in, stepping aside, letting them... I slammed the laptop shut before I could see more, ran to the trash can in the corner, and threw up everything in my stomach. Ryan had lied. He'd said he never let anyone touch me, had sworn it was just photos and videos, just observation. But he'd been selling more than that. He'd been selling access, full access, to my unconscious body, and I had no memory of any of it. Sophie was crying beside me. Detective Chen was on her phone, barking orders to someone about expediting forensic analysis. I couldn't breathe, couldn't think, couldn't process what I'd just seen. How many times, how many men, how many nights had Ryan drugged me unconscious and let strangers into our bedroom to do whatever they wanted while I lay there unable to protect myself, unable to even know it was happening? Maya. Detective Chen knelt beside me. We're going to get every single person involved in this, every customer, every accomplice, everyone who paid, everyone who participated, everyone who knew. They're all going to prison. I promise you that. But prison didn't undo what they'd done, didn't erase those 18 months, didn't give me back my body, my consent, my humanity. Ryan had stolen all of that, and I could never get it back. I couldn't stop shaking. Sophie had her arms around me, but I couldn't feel them. Couldn't feel anything except this hollow emptiness where my sense of self used to be. How many? My voice didn't sound like mine. How many men did he let... We're still going through the records, Detective Chen said quietly. But Maya, we're going to find them all, every single one. I laughed. It came out broken and twisted. And what? They go to prison for a few years, and then they're free? They get to move on with their lives while I couldn't finish the sentence. While I what? While I lived with the knowledge that strangers had violated my unconscious body for 18 months and I couldn't even remember it? While I wondered every single day what exactly they'd done to me? While I tried to piece together a sense of safety that Ryan had systematically destroyed? I want to see him. The words came out before I'd even decided to say them. Detective Chen's head snapped up. Ryan? Absolutely not. That's not a good idea. I don't care if it's a good idea. I need to see him. I need to look him in the eye and ask him why. My hands clenched into fists. He owes me that much. Maya, he doesn't owe you anything except to rot in prison, Sophie said. Her voice was fierce, protective. You don't need to see him. You don't need closure from that monster. I need to understand. I stood up, my legs shaky but holding. 18 months. He planned this for 18 months. Started before we even got married. Why? What did I do? What made him think he could... You did nothing wrong. Detective Chen stood too, blocking my path to the door. This isn't about you. This is about him. About his choices. About his sickness. Then let me hear him say it. Let me hear him try to explain how you drug your wife and sell her body to strangers for 18 months. I met her eyes. Please, I'm asking you. Let me see him. She studied my face for a long moment, then sighed. 5 minutes. Supervised. The moment I think it's too much, we end it. Understood? I nodded. Sophie grabbed my arm. Maya, don't do this. You don't need to hear whatever lies he's going to tell you. I need to see his face when I tell him I know everything. I squeezed her hand. I need him to know that he didn't break me, that I'm still here, still fighting. Then I'm coming with you. No. I pulled away gently. This is something I have to do alone. Detective Chen led me down a long hallway to the interview rooms. Through the window in one door, I could see Ryan sitting at a metal table, his hands cuffed in front of him. He looked smaller somehow, less powerful, like seeing him in handcuffs had shrunk him down to his true size. 5 minutes, Detective Chen reminded me. I'll be right outside. She opened the door. I stepped inside. Ryan's head jerked up. His eyes went wide when he saw me. Maya, baby, thank God. You have to tell them. Don't. I cut him off. My voice was ice. Don't call me baby. Don't call me anything. You lost that right the first time you drugged me. His face crumpled. Tears started running down his cheeks. Maya, please. I never meant for it to go this far. It just spiraled out of control and I didn't know how to stop in 18 months. I sat down across from him, folded my hands on the table so he wouldn't see them shaking. You started planning this 18 months ago, before we got married. So tell me, Ryan, was any of it real? Did you ever actually love me? Or was I always just a business opportunity? Of course I loved you. I still love you. That's why you let strangers rape me while I was unconscious. The word hung in the air between us. Heavy, true, undeniable. That's not love. That's not even close to love. I never let them. The photos were just, I saw the video, Ryan, from June 15th. Marcus Patterson, $5,000 for full access. I leaned forward. You want to keep lying to me? Keep pretending it was just photos? Or do you want to tell me the truth for once in your miserable life? His face went white. You weren't supposed to see that. I wasn't supposed to know about any of it. That was the whole point, wasn't it? Keep me drugged and compliant and oblivious while you sold my body piece by piece. I fought to keep my voice steady. How many, Ryan? How many men did you let touch me? Maya, how many? I slammed my hands on the table. He flinched. 7. His voice was barely a whisper. 7 men over the last 4 months. Before that, it really was just photos and videos, I swear. You swear? I laughed. It sounded unhinged. Your word means nothing. Less than nothing. You swore to love and cherish me. You swore in front of our friends and family to protect me. And you spent 18 months violating me in every possible way. I needed the money. We needed the money. Your salary wasn't enough and my business was failing and I had debts you didn't know about. So get a real job, I was screaming now. Sell the house. Declare bankruptcy. Do literally anything except drug your wife and sell her unconscious body to rapists. It wasn't supposed to be like that. He was crying harder now, snot running down his face. It started small, just some photos for a private client. He paid so well and you never knew, and it seemed harmless. Harmless. And then more people wanted photos, and they were willing to pay more for videos. And then someone offered double if they could watch live, and I thought, he stopped, shook his head. I thought if you didn't know, if you couldn't remember, then it wasn't really hurting you. I stared at him. At this man I'd married, this man I'd trusted with everything. Who's the woman? I asked. The one in the video with you, your partner. His eyes went wide. How did you... The police found everything, Ryan. Every video, every file, every record. So tell me who she is before I walk out of here and never speak to you again. Her name is Kelsey. He swallowed hard. She's been helping me for 6 months with the technical side, the streaming, the scheduling. Is she your girlfriend? He didn't answer. Didn't need to. His face said everything. How long? My voice was deadly quiet. How long have you been cheating on me? It's not like that. Kelsey and I, we work well together. She understands the business side of things. The business side of drugging and trafficking your wife. I stood up. My chair scraped against the floor. You're pathetic. You know that? You couldn't even be faithful while you were busy violating me every night. You had to bring your girlfriend in on it. Maya, please. I made mistakes, terrible mistakes, but I'm getting help. I'm going to therapy. I can change. You're going to prison. I walked to the door, not for Detective Chen to let me out. For 20 years, if I have any say in it. And when you get out, if you get out, I hope every person you meet knows exactly what you did. I hope you never know peace again. Maya, I walked out. Didn't look back. The door closed behind me with a heavy click that felt like finality. Detective Chen was waiting. You okay? No. I wasn't going to lie. But I will be. Eventually. Sophie was in the hallway pacing. She grabbed me the moment I appeared. What did he say? Exactly what I expected. Excuses. Justifications. Poor me, I needed money. Poor me, it spiraled out of control. I pulled away from her. Detective Chen, you said you'd find them all. The men who paid him. How long will that take? We're working on it now. Most of them used cryptocurrency and anonymous accounts, but we have digital forensic specialists tracking the transactions. Give us a few days and we'll have names. I want to testify against every single one. My voice was steel. Ryan, Kelsey, Marcus Patterson, every man who paid to watch or paid to touch. I want them all in court. I want to look them in the eye and tell the jury exactly what they did to me. Maya, that's going to be brutal. You'll have to describe. I know what I'll have to describe. I met her eyes. I'm doing it anyway. They took 18 months from me. They took my sense of safety, my ability to trust, my peace of mind. The least they can do is face me in court. Detective Chen nodded slowly. Okay, we'll make it happen. But first, we need to find this Kelsey woman. Do you know her last name? Anything about her? Ryan says she's been helping him for 6 months with the technical side, streaming and scheduling. I closed my eyes, trying to remember the video. She looked young, maybe 25. Dark hair, pretty, had a tattoo on her left wrist, but I couldn't see what it was. That helps. We'll check Ryan's phone records, his emails, his social media. We'll find her. Detective Chen pulled out her phone, started typing notes. In the meantime, you should go home with Sophie. Get some rest. This is going to be a long process and you need to take care of yourself. I can't rest. Every time I close my eyes, I see. I stopped. Took a breath. How long before the arraignment? Probably 48 hours. Ryan's being held without bail given the severity of the charges and flight risk. We'll notify you when it's scheduled. Sophie drove me back to her apartment. The sun was coming up, painting the sky pink and orange. A beautiful morning, like the world didn't know that my life had just been destroyed. You were so brave in there, Sophie said as we pulled into her parking lot, facing him like that, telling him exactly what you thought of him. I don't feel brave, I feel empty. I stared out the window. 18 months, Sophie. He was doing this to me for 18 months, and I had no idea. None. What does that say about me? It says he's a skilled predator, and you're a trusting person. Those aren't flaws, Maya. Those are normal human qualities that he weaponized. I should have known, should have seen the signs earlier, should have questioned the vitamins from the beginning. Stop! Sophie parked the car, turned to face me. This is not your fault. You hear me? None of this is your fault. Ryan made these choices. Ryan planned this. Ryan executed it. You are the victim here. Don't let him take that from you too. I wanted to believe her, wanted to accept that I bore no responsibility for what had happened to me. But how could I not wonder, not question every moment of our relationship, not ask myself what I'd missed, what red flags I'd ignored, what I could have done differently? My phone rang. The burner phone Detective Chen had given me. Unknown number. Hello? Mrs. Rodriguez? This is Dr. Sarah Mitchell from Portland General Hospital. Detective Chen asked me to call you. I specialize in sexual trauma, and she thought you might benefit from talking to someone. My throat closed up. I couldn't speak. I know this is overwhelming, Dr. Mitchell continued gently. And I know you probably don't want to talk to anyone right now, but what you've been through, it's not something you should process alone. Would you be willing to come in for an evaluation? Just to talk. No pressure, no commitments, just a conversation. I don't know if my voice cracked. You don't have to know anything right now. You don't have to make any decisions. But you do need support. Professional support. This kind of trauma, it changes people, and having someone to help you navigate those changes can make all the difference. I looked at Sophie. She nodded encouragingly. Okay, I said quietly. When? I have an opening today at noon. Does that work? Today, 6 hours from now, I'd be sitting in a therapist's office talking about how my husband drugged me and sold my body to strangers for 18 months. Yes, I'll be there. Sophie made me eat something even though I had no appetite. Made me shower even though I could barely stand. Helped me pick out clothes even though I wanted to crawl into bed and never come out. At 11:30, we drove to the hospital. Dr. Mitchell's office was in a quiet wing, away from the chaos of the emergency room. Soft lighting, comfortable chairs, art on the walls. She was in her 50s, with gray streaked hair and kind eyes that had seen too much suffering. Maya, thank you for coming. She gestured to the couch. Please sit. Can I get you anything? Water? Tea? Water, please. She poured me a glass from a pitcher on her desk, sat across from me in a chair that matched the couch. Detective Chen briefed me on your situation, what your husband did to you, what you discovered, how you're feeling right now. She paused. I want you to know that everything we discuss here is confidential. I'm not going to judge you or tell you how you should feel or try to rush your healing. I'm just here to listen and support you through this process. I don't even know where to start. My hands were shaking. I feel like my entire life was a lie, like I never actually knew the man I married, like I'm standing on ground that's crumbling beneath me and I don't know where it's safe to step. That's a completely normal response to this kind of betrayal. Your sense of reality has been fundamentally violated. The person you trusted most in the world turned out to be hurting you in the worst possible way. That kind of trauma, it doesn't just go away. It changes how you see the world, how you see yourself, how you see relationships. Tears started streaming down my face. I couldn't stop them. I keep thinking about all the times I trusted him, all the times I took those pills without question, all the mornings I woke up confused and he explained it away and I believed him. I wiped at my face angrily. How could I be so stupid? How could I not see what he was doing? You weren't stupid. You were being a normal wife in what you thought was a normal marriage. Predators are skilled at hiding their true nature. They're skilled at manipulation and gaslighting and making their victims doubt their own perceptions. Nothing about what happened to you indicates stupidity or weakness. It indicates that you were targeted by someone who knew exactly how to exploit your trust. But I'm a teacher. I work with children. I'm supposed to be able to spot danger, supposed to protect vulnerable people, and I couldn't even protect myself. Being able to spot danger in professional situations doesn't mean you can spot it in your own home, especially when the danger comes from someone you love, someone you've built a life with, someone who's deliberately working to hide what they're doing. Dr. Mitchell leaned forward. Maya, I need you to hear this. What Ryan did to you is not a reflection of your judgment or intelligence or worth. It's a reflection of his character, his choices, his sickness. I wanted to believe her. Wanted to accept that I hadn't somehow brought this on myself. But the doubt was there, the voice in my head asking what I'd done wrong, what I'd missed, how I'd let this happen. Detective Chen told me there were 7 men. I couldn't look at Dr. Mitchell as I said it. 7 men who paid for full access, who paid to... I couldn't say the word. And I don't remember any of it. I have no memory of what they did to me. How do I live with that? How do I move forward when there are these blank spaces in my life where terrible things happened and I'll never know exactly what? That's one of the cruelest aspects of what Ryan did. He didn't just violate your body. He stole your memory of it, stole your ability to process and understand what happened to you. She paused. Some survivors find it helpful to know the details. Others find it more traumatic. There's no right answer. But either way, your reaction is valid. Your fear is valid. Your anger is valid. I'm not just angry. I'm enraged. I want to hurt him the way he hurt me, want to make him feel even a fraction of what I'm feeling right now. My hands clenched into fists. Is that normal? Is it okay to want revenge? It's absolutely normal. Rage is a healthy response to violation. The question is what you do with that rage. Do you let it consume you, or do you channel it into something productive, like testifying against him, like making sure he faces consequences, like healing yourself despite what he did? We talked for 2 hours about trauma responses, about PTSD symptoms, about how to manage the hypervigilance and nightmares and panic attacks that would probably come. about how healing wasn't linear, about how some days would be better than others, and that was okay. When we finished, Dr. Mitchell walked me to the waiting room where Sophie had been sitting. "I'd like to see you twice a week for the next few months," she said. "More if you need it. This is going to be a long process, Maya, but you don't have to go through it alone." I nodded. Couldn't speak past the lump in my throat. Sophie drove me back to her apartment. My phone rang on the way. "Detective Chen." "Maya, we found Kelsey." My heart started racing. "Where?" "Her full name is Kelsey Morrison, 26 years old. Works as a software engineer at a tech startup downtown. We've got officers picking her up right now." Detective Chen paused. "There's something else. Something you need to know." "What?" "When we brought her in for questioning, she had a flash drive in her purse. She was trying to destroy it when officers arrived. We managed to recover the data." Another pause. Longer this time. "Maya, it's videos, not from your house, from somewhere else. Other women." My blood ran cold. "What do you mean, other women?" "Ryan and Kelsey have been running this operation for at least 2 years. You're not the first victim. You're the third." The world tilted. Sophie had to pull over because I was hyperventilating so badly. 2 other women? I gasped out. He did this to 2 other women before me? We're trying to identify them now. The videos show them unconscious, being photographed and filmed. We think Ryan and Kelsey were perfecting their technique, learning how to drug victims without leaving obvious traces, how to create content that would sell, how to cover their tracks. Detective Chen's voice was tight with anger. "You helped us catch them before they could move on to victim number 4. I was going to be sick, was going to pass out, was going to breathe, Maya." Sophie had her hand on my back. "Breathe. In and out. You're safe. You're okay." But I wasn't okay. I was never going to be okay again, because Ryan hadn't just violated me. He'd violated other women before me, had probably been planning to violate more women after me, had turned this into a systematic operation with his girlfriend. "We need you to come to the station," Detective Chen said. "Kelsey's lawyer is trying to cut a deal. She's willing to give us names of customers, details of operations, everything, if we reduce her charges. But we need leverage. We need you to be willing to testify against her, to show her that we have a strong case even without her cooperation. I'll be there in 20 minutes. Sophie started the car. "Maya, you don't have to." "Yes, I do. If there are other victims, they deserve justice too. They deserve to know what happened to them." I wiped my face. "And Kelsey deserves to rot in prison right next to Ryan." The police station was buzzing with activity when we arrived. Detectives running between offices, phones ringing, computer screens showing spreadsheets and surveillance footage. Detective Chen met us at the front desk. "Kelsey's in interview room 3. Her lawyer is with her. They're waiting for us to present our case before they make their final decision on the deal." "What kind of deal are they asking for?" "Reduced charges in exchange for testimony against Ryan and full disclosure of customer lists." She's claiming she was coerced, that Ryan manipulated her into participating, that she's a victim too. She's not a victim. My voice was ice. She knew exactly what she was doing. She helped him drug me, helped him sell my body, helped him violate other women. She's just as guilty as he is. I agree, but the DA thinks her testimony would be valuable, would help us nail Ryan and all the customers with ironclad evidence. Detective Chen studied my face. "The question is whether you're willing to see her get a lighter sentence in exchange for that testimony." I thought about it. Thought about justice versus pragmatism. Thought about what would actually help catch every person involved in this operation. What would her sentence be with the deal? Probably 8 to 12 years instead of 20. And without the deal, we'd still convict her. We have enough evidence, but it would be harder to nail all the customers. Some of them might slip through the cracks. Detective Chen paused. "It's your call, Maya. You're the victim here. If you want us to throw the book at her regardless of what she offers, we'll do it." I closed my eyes, thought about the 2 other women, the ones who didn't even know yet what had been done to them, the ones who deserved to learn the truth, to get justice, to make sure their abusers faced consequences. "Take the deal," I said, "but I want to be there when she testifies. I want to look her in the eye when she admits what she did." "Done." Detective Chen led us to an observation room. Through the 2-way mirror, I could see Kelsey sitting at a metal table. She looked younger than I'd expected, scared. Her dark hair was pulled back in a ponytail. Her hands were shaking. Good. She should be scared. A lawyer sat beside her. Mid-40s, expensive suit, the kind of attorney who specialized in getting guilty people reduced sentences. Detective Chen and another detective entered the interview room, sat across from Kelsey. Ms. Morrison, let's talk about your relationship with Ryan Rodriguez. Kelsey's voice was quiet. I met him 2 years ago at a conference for freelance tech workers. He was charming, said he needed help with a business venture, said it would be lucrative. What kind of business venture? He told me he'd found a way to create content that certain clients would pay premium prices for. He showed me some photos, said his wife had agreed to model for him while she slept, said it was a consensual arrangement between married partners. And you believed him? At first, yes. He was so convincing, so normal. I thought it was unusual, but not illegal if his wife had consented. She swallowed hard. But then he showed me more, videos, and I realized she wasn't just sleeping. She was unconscious, drugged, and she had no idea what was happening to her. So you knew she wasn't consenting? Yes, I knew. Tears started running down Kelsey's face, and I helped him anyway, because he was paying me, because I needed the money, because I told myself she didn't know, so she wasn't really being hurt. My hands clenched into fists. She knew. She'd known from the beginning that I wasn't consenting, and she'd helped him anyway. Tell us about the other victims, Detective Chen said. There were 2 before Maya. The first was Ryan's girlfriend before Maya. Her name was Amanda. He drugged her for 6 months before she got suspicious and left him. He was careful with her. Just photos. Testing. To see if it would work. Amanda. There was a woman named Amanda who'd been through this before me, who'd somehow sensed something was wrong and got out. The second was a woman Ryan met at a coffee shop. Her name was Jennifer. He dated her for 3 months, moved in with her, started drugging her. We ran the operation for 8 months before Jennifer moved across the country for a job, and Ryan couldn't follow her. Jennifer, another woman, another 8 months of violation. Then he married Maya. Kelsey's voice dropped, and I thought maybe he'd stopped. Thought maybe getting married meant he was done with this. But 2 months after the wedding, he called me, said he'd found the perfect setup, said Maya was trusting and obedient and would never suspect, said we could make it bigger than ever. I couldn't listen anymore, couldn't stay in that room watching her cry and make excuses. I walked out, down the hallway, out the front doors of the police station, stood in the parking lot gulping air. Sophie found me a few minutes later. Maya, Amanda, and Jennifer. I looked at her. There are 2 other women who went through this, who deserve to know what happened to them. How do I find them? The police will find them. They'll notify them. They'll offer them support and counseling, and that's not enough. I pulled out my phone, opened social media, started searching. Amanda. Dated Ryan before me, left him about 3 years ago. I found her in 15 minutes. Amanda Chen, lived in San Francisco now. Her profile showed a happy woman with a new husband and a baby. She'd escaped. She'd rebuilt her life. She'd found happiness. And I was about to destroy all of that by telling her what Ryan had done to her. But she deserved to know, deserved to understand why she left him, deserved justice. I sent her a message. My name is Maya Rodriguez. I was married to Ryan Rodriguez until this week. I need to talk to you about something very important. Please call me. Then I searched for Jennifer, found 3 possibilities, sent the same message to all of them. Within an hour, Amanda called me back. Maya? Her voice was shaking. What's this about Ryan? He's been arrested for drugging and trafficking his wife, for creating content without consent, I took a breath, for doing things to his unconscious victims that they can't remember and can't consent to. Silence on the other end, long enough that I thought she'd hung up. Then, how long? 18 months with me. But before me, Amanda, I found videos of you from when you were dating him. He was drugging you too. I heard her start to cry, heard her breathing get faster, more panicked. I knew something was wrong, she whispered. I knew. I kept waking up exhausted, kept finding bruises I couldn't explain, kept having memory gaps, but he convinced me I was crazy, convinced me I was anxious and paranoid and needed therapy. You weren't crazy. He was drugging you, creating content of you while you were unconscious, selling it to clients. I forced myself to say it. You were his first victim, his test run, and when you left him, he moved on to Jennifer, then to me. Oh God, what did he do to me? What's on those videos? I don't know. I haven't watched them, but the police have them. They can tell you. They can help you. I swallowed hard. Amanda, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry you have to learn this, but you deserve to know the truth. You deserve justice. She was sobbing now. I heard someone in the background asking if she was okay. I have to go, she managed. I have to. My husband is here. I need to tell him. The detective in charge is Lisa Chen. She'll contact you. She'll help you through this. And Amanda, I paused. Thank you for leaving him. Thank you for trusting your instincts. You probably saved my life by showing that someone could get suspicious and get out. She hung up without saying goodbye. 2 hours later, Jennifer called. Not the Jennifer I'd messaged, but a different one. Jennifer Park. She'd seen my message to someone else with the same name who'd shared it in a group chat. I dated Ryan 3 years ago, she said without preamble, for almost a year. I had symptoms I couldn't explain and doctors couldn't diagnose. Then I moved to Boston for work and everything cleared up. Are you telling me he was drugging me? Yes. The police have evidence, videos, payment records. He and his girlfriend were running an operation targeting vulnerable women. My voice was steady now, cold, clinical. You were victim number 2. I was victim number 3. And if we hadn't caught him, there would have been a victim number 4. Jennifer didn't cry. She got angry. Her voice turned to steel. Where is he now? County jail, awaiting trial, facing 20 years in prison if the DA's office does its job. 20 years isn't enough. It should be life. She paused. I want to testify. I want to face him in court. I want him to know that all 3 of us survived and we're all going to watch him go to prison. So do I. So does Amanda. We'll make sure he faces all of us. I took a breath. But Jennifer, there's something else you should know. When the police searched Ryan's computer, they found hundreds of files, customer lists, payment records, men who paid to watch, men who paid for more than watching. How many? At least 40 different customers over the 2 years he ran the operation. Some of them live in Oregon. Some across the country. The police are tracking them down now, arresting them, building cases. They'll all face charges. Good. Jennifer's voice didn't waver. Good. Let every single one of them rot in prison. Let their lives be destroyed the way they destroyed ours. We talked for another hour, exchanged contact information, made plans to coordinate our testimonies, promised to support each other through the legal process ahead. By the time I hung up, it was almost midnight. I was exhausted, emotionally drained, but also strangely energized because I wasn't alone in this. There were 3 of us, 3 survivors, 3 women who Ryan had violated and discarded, 3 women who were going to make sure he paid for every single thing he'd done. Sophie had fallen asleep on the couch. I covered her with a blanket, went to the guest room, stared at the ceiling in the dark. In 48 hours, Ryan would be arraigned, formally charged. His crimes would become public record. The media would get hold of the story. Everyone would know what he'd done, and I would have to survive the aftermath. The stares, the whispers, the people who would blame me for not knowing, the people who would say I should have seen the signs, the people who would question why I'd stayed so long, but I'd survived this far. I'd uncovered the truth. I'd gone to the police. I'd found the other victims. I'd begun the long process of getting justice. I could survive the rest. My phone buzzed. A text from an unknown number. This is Amanda. Thank you for telling me. Thank you for fighting back. We're going to make sure he never hurts anyone again. Another text. Jennifer. I contacted a lawyer friend. He specializes in victim advocacy. He's willing to represent all 3 of us pro bono. We're going to destroy Ryan in court. I smiled in the darkness. For the first time in weeks, I felt something other than fear and rage. I felt hope. The arraignment was scheduled for 9 a.m. I woke up at 5, couldn't get back to sleep. Just lay there staring at the ceiling, my stomach in knots. Today, I'd see Ryan again. Today, his crimes would become public record. Today, the whole world would know what he'd done. Sophie found me in the kitchen at 6, already dressed in the conservative black suit Jennifer's lawyer friend had suggested I wear. You look ready to go to war, she said. I am. I'd spent 3 hours the night before with Dr. Mitchell, preparing for this moment, learning how to ground myself if I started dissociating, how to manage panic attacks if they came, how to hold on to my rage instead of letting it consume me. I'm ready to watch him face consequences. My phone buzzed. A text from Amanda. I'm at the courthouse, waiting in the victim advocate room. Come find me when you get here. Another from Jennifer. Our lawyer just arrived. He's reviewing our statements one more time. We've got this. I drove to the courthouse with Sophie. My hands were steady on the wheel. My mind was clear, focused. The parking lot was already full of news vans, reporters with cameras. This was going to be a circus. Detective Chen met us at a side entrance, helped us avoid the media. The DA just told me something, she said as we walked through security. Ryan's parents flew in this morning. They're here to support him. My stomach dropped. His parents? They're claiming he's innocent, that you're lying, that this is all some kind of vindictive scheme because you were unhappy in the marriage. Detective Chen's jaw tightened. Just wanted you to be prepared. They might try to approach you. Great. So I'd have to face not just Ryan, but his family defending him. The victim advocate room was small but private. Amanda was already there, pacing. She looked different than her social media photos. Thinner, dark circles under her eyes. When she saw me, she stopped. Maya. We stared at each other for a long moment. Two women who'd been violated by the same man. Two survivors connected by trauma we'd never asked for. Then she crossed the room and hugged me. Hard, like she was holding on to the only person who could possibly understand. Thank you, she whispered. Thank you for finding me, for telling me. I spent 3 years thinking I was crazy, thinking I'd imagined the symptoms, and now I know. Her voice broke. Now I know it was real. Jennifer arrived 10 minutes later. She was taller than both of us, with sharp eyes and sharper anger radiating off her. So we're the club nobody wants to join, she said. No softness, no tears, just cold fury. 3 women stupid enough to trust Ryan Rodriguez. We weren't stupid, I said. We were normal people who got targeted by a predator. Doesn't make me feel less like an idiot. Jennifer sat down hard in one of the chairs. I'm a data analyst. I work with patterns and statistics and risk assessment for a living, and I didn't see what was happening in my own relationship. None of us did. Amanda sat beside her. That's what predators do. They're experts at hiding, at manipulation, at making us doubt ourselves. Well, he can't hide anymore. Jennifer pulled out her phone, showed us something. Detective Chen sent me this, the customer list. 43 names, 43 men who pay to watch or pay for access. 17 of them have been arrested so far. The rest are being tracked down. I looked at the list, saw Marcus Patterson's name, saw other names I didn't recognize. Teachers, doctors, businessmen, a pastor. Men from all walks of life who paid to violate unconscious women. They're all going down, Jennifer said. Every single one. Our lawyer arrived at 8:30. David Reeves, mid-50s, silver hair, eyes that had seen countless victims seek justice. Ladies, I've reviewed all 3 of your statements. I've coordinated with the DA's office. Today is just the arraignment. Ryan will plead not guilty, bail will be denied, and we'll schedule the preliminary hearing. He looked at each of us in turn. But I want you to understand something. This is going to be a long process, months, maybe a year before trial. And when it does go to trial, you'll all have to testify. You'll have to describe what happened in graphic detail in front of a jury, in front of Ryan, in front of the public. I'm ready, I said. So am I, Amanda echoed. Let's destroy him, Jennifer said flatly. David nodded. Then let's go make sure the judge knows exactly what kind of monster we're dealing with. The courtroom was packed. Media in the back rows. Ryan's parents in the front. Detective Chen and other officers who'd worked the case. And us. 3 survivors sitting together in the victim section. Ryan was brought in wearing an orange jumpsuit and handcuffs. He looked smaller, diminished. His eyes scanned the room and landed on me, on Amanda, on Jennifer. All 3 of us staring at him with expressions that could kill. He looked away fast. All rise. The Honorable Judge Patricia Brennan presiding. The judge was a woman in her 60s, with steel gray hair and an expression that suggested she'd heard every excuse in the book. We're here for the arraignment of Ryan Thomas Rodriguez. Mr. Rodriguez, you're charged with 47 counts, including administering drugs without consent, creating intimate images without consent, trafficking, sexual assault, and conspiracy. How do you plead? Ryan's lawyer stood. Not guilty, Your Honor. Noted. Bail? The DA stood. The state requests remand without bail, Your Honor. Mr. Ray, Rodriguez is a clear flight risk. He has significant financial resources hidden in cryptocurrency accounts. He has demonstrated a pattern of manipulation and deception spanning years, and he poses a danger to the community, specifically to women who might become his next victims. Your Honor, my client is not a flight risk. Ryan's lawyer started. Your client drugged and trafficked 3 women over 2 years. Judge Brennan cut him off. Her voice was ice. The state's request is granted. Mr. Rodriguez will remain in custody until trial. Preliminary hearing is set for 3 weeks from today. She banged her gavel. Next case. It was over in 10 minutes. Ryan was led away. He tried to look back at me one more time, but a bailiff blocked his view. I felt Amanda grab my hand on one side, Jennifer on the other. We sat there holding on to each other while Ryan's parents stormed past us, his mother glaring like this was somehow our fault. You're lying, she hissed at me. My son would never. Ma'am, keep moving. Detective Chen stepped between us. Now. Ryan's father pulled his wife away, but not before she spat one more sentence. You'll regret this. You'll regret destroying a good man's life over your vindictive lies. I wanted to scream at her. Wanted to drag her into Detective Chen's office and make her watch the videos. Make her see what her good son had done. But David put a hand on my shoulder. Don't engage. They're in denial. They'll face reality when the evidence comes out at trial. Outside the courthouse, the media swarmed us. Cameras flashing. Microphones shoved in our faces. Questions shouted from every direction. Mrs. Rodriguez, how do you feel about your husband's arrest? Are the allegations true? Did you have any idea what was happening? David stepped forward. My clients will not be making statements at this time. However, I can confirm that 3 women have come forward as victims of Ryan Rodriguez's systematic pattern of drugging and trafficking. We have extensive evidence. We are confident that justice will be served. He herded us through the crowd to his car. We drove to his office in silence. Once inside, behind closed doors, Jennifer finally spoke. His mother called us liars. Of course she did, David said. Parents of criminals often go through denial first. Anger. Bargaining. They can't accept that their child is a monster, so they attack the victims. How do we handle that? Amanda asked. If they come after us publicly? If they try to discredit us? We don't respond. We let the evidence speak. David pulled out folders. Now, we need to discuss the preliminary hearing. The DA will present evidence. The judge will decide if there's enough to proceed to trial. You probably won't have to testify yet. Just be present. But after that, during the trial itself, each of you will take the stand. What will we have to say? My voice came out steadier than I felt. Everything. The timeline of your relationship with Ryan. When symptoms started. What you experienced. What you discovered. The impact this has had on your life. He looked at me. Maya, you'll also have to explain how you caught him. The cameras. The evidence you gathered. The confrontation. I can do that. You'll be cross-examined by Ryan's defense attorney. He'll try to discredit you. Suggest you're lying or exaggerating or misremembering. He'll bring up your anxiety medication, your memory issues, the very symptoms Ryan caused, and try to use them to make you seem unreliable. Let him try. Jennifer's voice was steel. We have video evidence, payment records, customer testimonies, hard drives full of proof. He can't discredit that. No, he can't. David smiled slightly. Which is why I think we're going to win this. But I need you all to be prepared for how brutal the process will be. We spent 3 hours going over our testimonies, practicing how to answer hostile questions, learning how to stay calm when the defense attorney tried to rattle us. By the time we left, my head was spinning, but I also felt stronger, more prepared. Amanda hugged me goodbye in the parking lot. I'm flying back to San Francisco tonight, but I'll be here for the preliminary hearing and for the trial. We're in this together. Together, I agreed. Jennifer drove me back to Sophie's apartment. We were stopped at a red light when she said, Detective Chen called me this morning. Before the arraignment, She said they found something else on Ryan's computer. My stomach tightened. What? Plans. For a fourth victim. Ryan had been researching a woman who worked at your school. A young teacher, 24 years old. He had her schedule, photos of her, notes about her routines. Jennifer's hands gripped the steering wheel. He was going to leave you and do this all over again to someone else. The light turned green. She drove. I sat frozen. Who? I managed to ask. Her name is Emily Lawson. She teaches kindergarten. Detective Chen already notified her. Already told her what Ryan was planning. She's terrified. Emily. I knew Emily. Sweet, quiet, trusting Emily who just started teaching last year, who'd asked me for advice about classroom management, who'd been so excited about her first year. Ryan had been stalking her, planning to destroy her life the same way he destroyed mine. We need to tell her, I said. She needs to hear from us, from survivors. She needs to know it's not her fault that he targeted her. Jennifer pulled into Sophie's parking lot. Detective Chen gave me her number. You want to call her? I pulled out my phone, dialed before I could second guess myself. Emily answered on the third ring. Her voice was shaking. Hello? Emily, it's Maya Rodriguez. I teach at Riverside Elementary with you. Mrs. Rodriguez. She started crying. The police came to my apartment this morning. They told me about Ryan, about what he was planning. Oh God, I feel sick. Emily, listen to me. This is not your fault. You did nothing wrong. Ryan is a predator. He targeted you because you're kind and trusting, and those are good qualities, not weaknesses. But why me? What did I do to make him? Nothing. You did nothing. That's what predators do. They don't wait for victims to make mistakes. They create opportunities to victimize people who've done nothing wrong. She sobbed on the other end. I heard someone in the background, probably a roommate or family member, asking if she was okay. Emily, I know you're scared. I know this feels overwhelming, but you're safe now. Ryan is in jail. He can't hurt you. And if you need support, if you need someone who understands, I'm here. Amanda and Jennifer are here. We're all survivors, and we're all willing to help. I don't know how to process this. I don't know how to go to work tomorrow and face students and parents knowing that, her voice broke, knowing that a parent's husband was stalking me, planning to drug me, You don't have to go to work tomorrow. Take time. Talk to a therapist. Let yourself feel everything you're feeling. And know that you're not alone. We talked for another 20 minutes. I gave her Dr. Mitchell's contact information, told her about the support group for victims of sexual violence, promised to check on her regularly. When I hung up, I felt exhausted, drained. How many women had Ryan hurt? How many more had he planned to hurt? Sophie was waiting inside her apartment. How'd it go? Ryan's in jail. No bail. Preliminary hearing in 3 weeks. I collapsed onto her couch. And he'd been planning to target a teacher from my school next. A 24-year-old kindergarten teacher who just started last year. Jesus Christ. Sophie sat beside me. Is she okay? No. She's terrified, traumatized, and she didn't even experience what we experienced. Just the knowledge that he was planning to hurt her is enough to damage her. That's how many victims now? You, Amanda, Jennifer, and Emily almost, plus the men who were violated by watching and participating without knowing some of them were coerced into it by Ryan's lies. The customers weren't victims. I cut her off. They knew what they were paying for. They knew those women weren't consenting. They're just as guilty as Ryan. Sophie held up her hands. You're right. I'm sorry. I just meant this ripple effect is massive. So many lives destroyed by one man's sickness. My phone rang. Detective Chen. Maya, we need you to come to the station. Something happened. My heart started racing. What happened? Kelsey Morrison tried to kill herself in her cell an hour ago. She's alive, but she's in the hospital under guard. Before they took her, she said she needed to talk to you. Said she needed to tell you something. Tell me what? She wouldn't say. Just kept asking for you. Detective Chen paused. You don't have to go. You don't owe her anything. But if you want to hear what she has to say, we can arrange it. I looked at Sophie. She was shaking her head no. But I needed to know. Needed to understand why Kelsey had helped Ryan hurt so many women. I'll be there in 20 minutes. The hospital was cold and sterile. Detective Chen met me outside Kelsey's room. 2 officers stood guard at the door. She's stable. The doctors say she'll recover physically. Detective Chen's expression was grim. Mentally, that's another question. She's been crying since she woke up, saying she can't live with what she's done. Good. She shouldn't be able to live with it. Maya, before you go in there, remember that she's manipulative. She helped Ryan gaslight his victims for months. Whatever she tells you, take it with skepticism. I nodded, took a deep breath, walked into the room. Kelsey was handcuffed to the hospital bed. Her wrists were bandaged. Her face was pale and drawn. She looked up when I entered. Maya, her voice was hoarse. Thank you for coming. I didn't sit, didn't get close. Just stood near the door with my arms crossed. What do you want to tell me? I'm sorry. Tears started streaming down her face. I'm so sorry for what I helped him do to you, to Amanda, to Jennifer. I know it doesn't mean anything. I know it doesn't undo anything, but I need you to know that I'm sorry. Why? The word came out harsh. Why did you help him? At first, for the money. I had student loans, debt. Ryan was paying me well, and I convinced myself it wasn't really hurting anyone because you didn't know. She swallowed hard, but then I fell in love with him. And when you love someone, you rationalize. You make excuses. You tell yourself that what they're doing isn't that bad, that the victims are fine, that it's victimless. It wasn't victimless. We were victims, real people whose lives you destroyed. I know that now. I know, she started sobbing. I watched the videos the police recovered, all of them. I watched what we did to you and Amanda and Jennifer, and I wanted to die. I wanted to erase myself from existence because I can't undo what I did. I can't give you back what I took. No, you can't. I moved closer to the bed. So why did you ask me here? To absolve your guilt? To make yourself feel better before you go to prison? Because I'm not going to forgive you, Kelsey. Not now, not ever. I don't want forgiveness. I want to tell you something the police don't know yet. She looked me straight in the eye. Ryan has a brother, older brother, lives in Seattle. And I think... She stopped, started again. I think Ryan learned this from him. I think his brother has been doing the same thing for years. My blood ran cold. What? Ryan's brother, Marcus Rodriguez. Ryan used to visit him every few months. He'd come back with new ideas, new techniques, new ways to hide what he was doing. Kelsey's voice dropped to a whisper. One time I went with him. Marcus showed us his setup, his basement, his victims. Ryan's brother is running an operation 10 times bigger than what Ryan was doing. Does Detective Chen know this? No. I just realized it after what I did. I was lying in that cell thinking about everything, and it clicked. All those visits to Seattle, all those conversations they'd have in private. Ryan didn't come up with this on his own. His brother taught him. I backed toward the door. I have to tell Detective Chen. Wait, there's more. Kelsey struggled to sit up. Marcus has a partner too, a woman. And they don't just do this to their own victims. They recruit men, teach them how to do it to their wives and girlfriends. They're running a network. The room spun. This wasn't just Ryan. This wasn't just 3 victims. This was a whole network of predators doing this to women across multiple states. How do you know this? Because Ryan tried to recruit customers to become operators. He showed me the manual Marcus created, the step-by-step guide on how to drug victims without getting caught, how to create content without leaving evidence, how to build a customer base. Kelsey's eyes were wild. Maya, this is so much bigger than just Ryan. There could be dozens of victims, maybe hundreds. I ran from the room, found Detective Chen in the hallway. Call the Seattle police, right now. Ryan has a brother named Marcus Rodriguez, and he's running the same operation. Bigger. With a network of men he's trained. Detective Chen's face went pale. She pulled out her phone. Within minutes, she was coordinating with Seattle PD, with the FBI, with task forces specializing in sex trafficking. I sat in a plastic chair and watched the investigation explode into something massive. Something that was going to take years to unravel. Something that was going to reveal victims who didn't even know yet what had been done to them. Sophie found me an hour later. I was still sitting in that chair, staring at nothing. Maya, David Reeves called. The DA wants to meet with us tomorrow. They're expanding the charges against Ryan, adding conspiracy to operate a criminal enterprise. They're going after his whole network. Good. My voice sounded dead. They should all burn. Come on, let's go home. You've done enough for today. But I hadn't done enough, would never do enough. Because somewhere out there were women being drugged right now. Women waking up confused and exhausted with no idea that their partners were violating them. And I'd helped expose it. I started the process that would hopefully save them. But I couldn't save them all. Couldn't stop every predator. Couldn't protect every victim. I could only save myself. Could only heal my own trauma. Could only make sure Ryan and everyone like him faced consequences. And that would have to be enough. 3 weeks later, we were back in court for the preliminary hearing. The DA presented evidence that made the courtroom gasp. Videos, payment records, customer testimonies, the manual Marcus had created for training predators. Ryan sat there with his head down. Didn't look at me. Didn't look at Amanda or Jennifer. Just stared at his handcuffed hands while the judge heard evidence of his crimes. I've heard enough, Judge Brennan said after 2 hours. There's more than sufficient evidence to proceed to trial. Mr. Rodriguez, you will face trial on all 47 counts plus the additional conspiracy charges. Trial date is set for 6 months from now. 6 months. 6 more months of waiting, of healing, of preparing. But at the end of those 6 months, I'd stand in court and tell my story. Amanda would tell hers. Jennifer would tell hers. Emily would describe the terror of being stalked. And Ryan would go to prison for the rest of his life. Justice wouldn't undo what he'd done. Wouldn't give us back those months. Wouldn't erase the trauma. But it would mean he couldn't hurt anyone else. And that was enough. The trial started on a Monday morning in October. 6 months after Ryan's arrest. 6 months of therapy twice a week. 6 months of nightmares and panic attacks. And slowly learning how to exist in my own skin again. I walked into that courtroom wearing a navy blue dress and heels that made me 3 inches taller. My hair pulled back. My makeup minimal. I wanted the jury to see me as I was. A normal woman who'd been violated by someone she trusted. Ryan was already seated at the defense table. He'd lost weight in jail. His expensive suit hung loose on his frame. When I walked past him to the victim section, he tried to meet my eyes. I looked straight ahead. He didn't deserve even that small acknowledgement. Amanda sat to my right. Jennifer to my left. Emily was in the back row with her parents. She'd be testifying about Ryan's stalking, about the plans he'd made to make her victim number 4. The jury filed in. 8 women, 4 men, faces ranging from their 20s to their 60s. People who would hear the worst details of my violation and decide whether Ryan deserved to spend the rest of his life in prison. All rise. Judge Brennan entered. The same steel-haired woman who denied Ryan bail, who'd seen enough evidence in the preliminary hearing to know exactly what kind of monster he was. We're here for the trial of Ryan Thomas Rodriguez, she said. Opening statements will begin now. The DA stood. Sarah Kim, mid-40s, sharp as a blade. She'd been preparing for this case for months. Had told me she was going to make sure Ryan never saw freedom again. Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, what I'm about to describe to you is going to be difficult to hear. It's going to challenge your understanding of what people are capable of. It's going to make you uncomfortable. She paused, letting that sink in. But I need you to hear it. I need you to understand the systematic, calculated, deliberate nature of what Ryan Rodriguez did to 3 women over the course of 2 years. She walked them through it. The vitamins that weren't vitamins. The drugging. The memory gaps. The bruises. The footage. The payments. The customers. The network. Ryan Rodriguez didn't just violate these women once. He violated them hundreds of times. While they slept. While they trusted him. While they had no ability to protect themselves or even know what was happening. Sarah's voice rose. He stole their consent. He stole their memory. He stole their sense of safety. And he did it all for profit. The jury was riveted. Some of them looked sick. Good. They should feel sick. Ryan's defense attorney stood next. Gerald Morrison, 60-something with silver hair and a reputation for getting guilty, clients acquitted. My client is not the monster the prosecution wants you to believe he is, Gerald began. He's a man who made mistakes, poor choices, but intent matters. And the prosecution hasn't proven that Ryan Rodriguez intended to harm these women. I wanted to scream. He drugged us for months. How was that not intent to harm? You're going to hear testimony from 3 women who claim they were drugged without knowledge or consent. But you're also going to hear that these women were in consensual relationships with my client, that they trusted him, that they took medication he provided willingly. Gerald looked at the jury. The question you need to ask yourselves is, were these women truly victims? Or are they vindictive ex-partners trying to destroy a man who didn't meet their expectations? My hands clenched into fists. Amanda grabbed one. Jennifer grabbed the other. He's trying to discredit us before we even testify, Jennifer whispered. Don't react. Stay strong. The DA called her first witness. Detective Chen took the stand and walked the jury through the investigation. The cameras I planted, the footage we'd recovered, the hard drives in Ryan's locked drawer, the customer lists, the payment records. Gerald tried to poke holes. How do we know Maya Rodriguez didn't plant that evidence herself? How do we know she didn't create those files to frame her husband? Detective Chen didn't blink, because the metadata on those files dates back 2 years, long before Maya even suspected anything was wrong. And because we found corroborating evidence on Ryan Rodriguez's phone, his computer, and his cloud storage accounts, all of which Maya had no access to. But she's a smart woman. Couldn't she have? No. Detective Chen cut him off. She couldn't have. The technical analysis proves these files are authentic. They were created by Ryan Rodriguez. They were stored on his devices. They contain footage of his crimes. There's no reasonable doubt about their authenticity. Next came the forensic expert who'd analyzed the pills. Dr. James Wright testified that the vitamins contained Rohypnol in carefully calibrated doses. These weren't random drugs, Dr. Wright said. These were specifically formulated to induce unconsciousness without obvious side effects, to create memory suppression without full amnesia, to keep victims compliant and confused. This required pharmaceutical knowledge. This required planning. Could these pills have been obtained legally? Sarah asked. Absolutely not. Rohypnol is a controlled substance. The only way to obtain it in these quantities would be through illegal channels or through someone with access to pharmaceutical supplies. Gerald tried to suggest I could have taken those pills voluntarily, that maybe I'd known what they contained and agreed to it. Dr. Wright shut that down fast. No one voluntarily takes Rohypnol nightly for 18 months. The side effects alone, memory loss, exhaustion, cognitive impairment, would make that absurd. These women were being drugged without their knowledge or consent. The evidence is conclusive. Then came the customers. 3 of them had taken plea deals in exchange for testimony. They sat on that stand and described what they paid for, what they'd watched, what they'd done. Marcus Patterson went first, the high school principal who'd paid $5,000 for full access. What did you understand full access to mean? Sarah asked. Marcus couldn't look at me, couldn't look at anyone. Physical contact while she was unconscious. And did Ryan Rodriguez tell you that Maya Rodriguez had consented to this? He said she knew, said it was part of their marriage dynamic, that she liked being unconscious during... He stopped. I believed him. I wanted to believe him because it made what I was doing feel less wrong. But you knew she was drugged. Yes. You knew she was unconscious. Yes. So how could she have possibly consented to what you did to her? Marcus had no answer. Just sat there while the jury stared at him with disgust. 2 other customers testified, described the live streams they'd watched, the photos they'd purchased, the private sessions they'd paid for. All of them claiming Ryan had told them it was consensual. All of them admitting they'd known deep down it wasn't. By the end of the second day, the jury looked exhausted, traumatized. They'd heard things no person should have to hear, seen evidence that would haunt them, but they needed to hear more. They needed to hear from us. On day 3, I took the stand. Sarah walked me through my relationship with Ryan, how we'd met, how we'd fallen in love, how I trusted him completely. When did things start to change? She asked. About 7 months after we got married. Ryan came home with vitamins, said they'd help with my stress and sleep. I took them without question because he was my husband. Why wouldn't I trust him? What happened after you started taking the vitamins? Memory gaps, exhaustion, bruises I couldn't explain, waking up in different pajamas. My best friend telling me I looked sedated. My voice was steady. I'd practiced this with Dr. Mitchell dozens of times. I started to suspect something was wrong, but every time I questioned it, Ryan had an explanation. He convinced me I was anxious, stressed, imagining things. When did you realize the truth? When I pretended to take the pills one night and stayed conscious. I heard him talking to someone in our basement. Heard him say, she'll be out cold, and same price as always. That's when I knew he was doing something terrible. Sarah showed the jury the footage from my cameras, showed Ryan drugging me, showed him bringing men into our house, showed money changing hands. I watched the jurors' faces, saw the horror, the disgust, the anger. Then Gerald stood for cross-examination. Mrs. Rodriguez, you claim you had no idea what was happening, but isn't it true that you work with children, that you're trained to spot signs of abuse and manipulation? Yes, and yet you didn't spot it in your own marriage. Doesn't that suggest you're either incompetent at your job or lying about not knowing? Objection. Sarah shot up, badgering the witness. Sustained. Mr. Morrison, rephrase. Gerald changed tactics. You planted cameras in your house without telling your husband. Isn't that an invasion of his privacy? He was drugging me without my consent. Isn't that an invasion of my autonomy? Some of the jurors nodded. Gerald's jaw tightened. You've admitted to anxiety and memory issues. How can the jury trust that your testimony is accurate? How do we know you're not misremembering events? Because I have video evidence. Because I have medical records showing Rohypnol in my system. Because I have dozens of files from Ryan's computer proving exactly what he did. I leaned forward. I'm not misremembering anything. This happened. It's documented. It's undeniable. Gerald tried for another hour, tried to make me seem vindictive, unreliable, emotional, but Sarah had prepared me. I stayed calm, stayed focused, answered every question with facts. When I finally stepped down, I felt lighter. I'd faced Ryan in court. I told my truth, and the jury had believed me. Amanda testified next, described her 6 months with Ryan, the symptoms that had driven her away. I thought I was losing my mind, she said. I thought I had early onset dementia. I broke up with Ryan because I couldn't handle the memory loss and exhaustion anymore. And now, I know. It was him. All along, it was him. Gerald tried the same tactics, suggested she was lying, exaggerating, seeking attention. Amanda destroyed him. I have a husband now, a baby, a good life in San Francisco. Why would I fly to Portland, testify in court, relive my trauma if I was lying? What possible benefit would that give me? Gerald had no answer. Jennifer went third. Her testimony was coldest, most clinical. She presented dates, timelines, medical records like she was giving a data analysis presentation at work. The statistical probability that 3 separate women would all experience identical symptoms during relationships with the same man and then discover identical evidence of drugging and trafficking is essentially 0, she said. This wasn't coincidence. This was pattern. This was system. This was crime. Emily testified last, described finding the police at her door, learning that Ryan had been stalking her, planning to make her his next victim. I thought I was safe, she said quietly. I thought working at a school, living with roommates, being careful, I thought that would protect me. But predators don't care about that. They find ways. And if Maya hadn't caught Ryan, if she hadn't gone to the police, I would have been next. By the end of week 1, the prosecution had built an airtight case. Evidence, testimony, expert analysis, everything pointing to Ryan's guilt. But the defense had one more trick. On Monday of week 2, Gerald called a surprise witness, Kelsey Morrison. She walked into that courtroom in an orange jumpsuit, hands cuffed. She'd pled guilty to conspiracy and was serving 8 years. But she'd agreed to testify, not for Ryan, but against him. Ms. Morrison, you helped Ryan Rodriguez drug and traffic these women, correct? Yes. Her voice was barely audible. Why? Because I loved him. Because I was in debt and he was paying me. Because I convinced myself it wasn't really hurting anyone since the victims didn't know. She looked at the jury. I was wrong. I was complicit in something evil, and I will spend the rest of my life trying to atone for that. Gerald tried to use her testimony to suggest Ryan had been coerced, that Kelsey was the mastermind, that Ryan was just following her lead. Kelsey shut that down immediately. Ryan planned everything. Ryan recruited me. Ryan taught me how to drug victims without leaving traces. Ryan showed me videos from his brother's operation and said we'd do the same thing but better. She finally looked at Ryan. You're a predator. You're sick. And you deserve to rot in prison. Gerald's face went white. He'd called her, hoping she'd support Ryan's defense. Instead, she'd buried him. The prosecution rested. The defense put Ryan on the stand, a desperate move that backfired immediately. Mr. Rodriguez, did you drug your wife without her consent? I gave her supplements to help her sleep. She was stressed. Did those supplements contain Rohypnol? I don't know what was in them. I bought them from... You're a graphic designer with technical skills. You researched these drugs extensively. You have a degree in biochemistry from your undergraduate years. Are you claiming you didn't know what you were giving your wife? Ryan fumbled, contradicted himself, looked guilty. Sarah stood for cross-examination. She was merciless. You love your wife, you claim. Is that why you charged men $500 to watch her unconscious body? That's not... You have video evidence of you doing exactly that. Do you deny it? I needed money. We had bills. So you sold your wife's body to pay bills instead of getting a job? Instead of talking to her about finances? Instead of doing literally anything ethical? Ryan had no answer. You claim these women consented. But how can someone consent when they're unconscious? How can someone consent when they have no memory of what happened? How can someone consent when you specifically drug them to ensure they can't consent? I never meant to hurt anyone. But you did hurt people. You hurt Maya. You hurt Amanda. You hurt Jennifer. You traumatized Emily. You violated dozens of customers who believed your lies. Sarah moved closer. And you did it systematically, deliberately, for profit. That's not a mistake, Mr. Rodriguez. That's evil. The jury deliberated for 8 hours. I sat in the victim waiting room with Amanda and Jennifer, barely breathing. When the bailiff finally called us back, my legs were shaking so badly, Sophie had to help me walk. Has the jury reached a verdict? We have, Your Honor. On the charge of administering drugs without consent, how do you find? Guilty. On the charge of creating intimate images without consent? Guilty. On the charge of trafficking? Guilty. All 47 counts. Guilty on every single one. Ryan's face crumbled. His lawyer put a hand on his shoulder. His mother sobbed in the back row. I felt nothing. No joy, no relief, just emptiness where rage used to be. Sentencing is set for 2 weeks from today, Judge Brennan said. Those 2 weeks felt like years. I went back to therapy, talked about what justice actually meant, about how convicting Ryan didn't undo what he'd done, didn't erase the trauma, didn't give me back those 18 months, but it meant he couldn't hurt anyone else. And that had to matter. The sentencing hearing was packed. Media everywhere. Victim advocates. Survivors of other crimes who wanted to show support. Judge Brennan read through the charges, listed the evidence, described the impact on victims. Then she looked at Ryan. Mr. Rodriguez, what you did to these women is among the worst violations of trust I've seen in 30 years on the bench. You systematically drugged your wife and 2 girlfriends. You trafficked them to 43 different customers. You planned to victimize a 4th woman. You operated within a network that taught other men how to do the same thing. You showed no remorse until you were caught. And even then, your remorse was for yourself, not for your victims. She paused. The prosecution has asked for the maximum sentence, 25 years. Your defense has asked for leniency, for consideration of your age, your lack of prior criminal record, your potential for rehabilitation. My heart was pounding. I see no potential for rehabilitation in someone who spent 2 years perfecting techniques to violate unconscious women. I see no mercy for someone who showed his victims none. I see no reason to give you anything less than what you deserve. Judge Brennan looked at the courtroom, at me, at Amanda, at Jennifer. 25 years in prison, no possibility of parole for 20 years. Lifetime registration as a sex offender. Permanent restraining orders preventing contact with all victims. Mandatory restitution for therapy and medical costs. And a recommendation that you serve your sentence in maximum security given the nature of your crimes. The gavel came down. Ryan was led away in handcuffs. He tried to look back at me one last time. I turned away. He didn't deserve even that. Outside the courthouse, media swarmed us. But this time, I was ready. "I want to say something," I told David. He nodded. "Set up a microphone." I stood there with Amanda on one side, Jennifer on the other. 3 survivors. 3 women who'd refused to be broken. "My name is Maya Rodriguez, and for 18 months my husband drugged me every single night and trafficked my unconscious body to strangers for profit." I looked directly at the cameras. "I'm telling you this because I want other women to know the warning signs. Memory gaps, unexplained exhaustion, bruises, waking up in different clothes, a partner who's insistent about medication or supplements. These aren't normal, these are red flags." Amanda spoke next. "If something feels wrong, trust your instincts. I left Ryan because I couldn't explain my symptoms and he couldn't give me real answers. That instinct saved my life. Listen to your gut." Jennifer finished. "And if you discover you've been violated like we were, report it. Go to the police. Get evidence if you can. Tell someone you trust. You are not alone. You are not crazy. You are a survivor, and you deserve justice." We stood there together while cameras flashed and reporters shouted questions. 3 women who'd survived hell and come out fighting. The next morning, Detective Chen called. "Maya, I wanted you to be the first to know. We arrested Ryan's brother in Seattle yesterday. Found 12 victims. He's facing over 100 charges. The whole network is coming down. 12 more women. 12 more survivors who learned what had been done to them. Are they okay? They will be. We're connecting them with resources, support groups, therapists, and they know they're not alone. They know there are other survivors who understand." "Good. That's good." I hung up and looked at myself in the mirror. I was still Maya Rodriguez, still a teacher, still a woman who loved and trusted and been betrayed in the worst possible way. But I was also a survivor, a fighter, a voice for women who'd been silenced. Dr. Mitchell had told me healing wasn't linear, that some days would be harder than others, that trauma left scars that never fully faded. She was right. I still had nightmares, still checked locks obsessively, still couldn't take any medication without having panic attacks. But I also had hope. Had Amanda and Jennifer and Emily and 12 women in Seattle who I'd never met but who shared this awful bond with me. Had a therapist who understood. Had Sophie who never left my side. Had a job I loved with students who reminded me daily why fighting back mattered. 6 months after the trial, I moved to Seattle. Wanted a fresh start. Wanted to be near some of the survivors from Marcus Rodriguez's operation. Build a support network of people who understood. I got a new teaching job at an elementary school. Started dating again. Slowly, carefully, with a man who respected boundaries and understood trauma. James, a middle school counselor who'd worked with assault survivors and knew how to be patient. A year after the trial, I stood in a courtroom again. This time, testifying against Marcus Rodriguez, helping 12 more women get justice. 2 years after, I started a nonprofit, helping survivors of drugging and trafficking, providing resources, legal support, therapy referrals, making sure no woman had to go through this alone. 3 years after, I married James. Small ceremony. Just close friends and survivors who'd become family. Amanda flew in from San Francisco with her daughter. Jennifer came from Boston where she'd taken a new job. Emily was my maid of honor. We stood there together, women who'd survived, and I realized something. Ryan had tried to break me, tried to steal my consent, my memory, my humanity, tried to reduce me to a commodity to be sold. But he'd failed. I was still here, still fighting, still living, still loving. And every day I woke up free while he rotted in prison was a victory he could never take from me. That's the truth I want you to remember if you're watching this. If you're going through something similar, if you've been violated by someone you trusted, you can survive this. You can heal. You can reclaim your life. It won't be easy. It won't be quick. There will be days you want to give up. But you're stronger than you know. You're more resilient than trauma wants you to believe. And you're not alone. I'm Maya Rodriguez. I survived 18 months of being drugged and trafficked by my husband. I caught him, exposed his network, and sent him to prison for 25 years. And if I can do that, you can survive whatever you're facing too. Trust yourself, trust your instincts, and never, ever stop fighting for the life you deserve.